Or
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world. This is another edition of New York by Night, the Camarilla venue. We find ourselves tonight in the old building the prince uses. It's a convent or an ex-convent. And in this ex-convent, there is a museum. And in this museum, we find ourselves tonight as the prince is not holding an Elysium, but simply, for one special guest, has given the opportunity to represent himself out of the Elysium times. Because the prince has the feeling that this man, being a natural leader and a new arrival in the city, but from a very prestigious clan, deserves that right for now. So he contacts this local harpy, Mr. Tobias Budge, to have him arrange the meeting between the prince and Mr. Hardcastle. And they will find themselves in a room before the grand room, the room the prince has used before, until they are called. They're called up by the retainer of the prince, the man with the moustache. And he is stepping forward, and he's bowing deeply towards Tobias Budge and says, "The prince is ready, my lord."
Please, let's not keep the prince waiting.
Oh, I agree. I guess you should lead the way.
Tobias looks at the group. Please, let's go.
The man with the moustache will keep the door open as the two gentlemen pass him into the great hall. In this great hall, arts exhibits are there. They're up for display. It's a modern art, nothing from the time of when you would think the prince would be. Still, it's a very cozy place and very much convenient, as both gentlemen can walk up towards a small podium. It's a round podium. On this round podium is a man standing in front of an ornate or more ornate chair than usual. And this man is dressed in a uniform. Do you have any history, academics, intelligence academics?
Okay, Max actually in his backstory went to West Point, and he's got Academics 1, which is the history, specifically history of warfare in the last, say, 300 years.
Uh-huh.
And he's also, see if anything else. Yeah, Academics is history of warfare. That's on.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you this one for free because you're so specialized.
Mm-hmm.
You will see him in a uniform, a Spanish uniform. It's spanking white. It's you think it's of a colonel in the Napoleon Wars. It's a Spanish uniform of what seems to be a palace guard. It's a prestigious white uniform with gold and red. He's not wearing the hat though, as you can tell.
He's indoors.
But he is wearing the saber that goes with it. And he's waiting for you. You too, actually.
Also have, let's see here. I have 2 dots in etiquette. What is his preferred method of greeting? Usually princes have a way of formal address that they like to be addressed as. Prince, my lord, sir.
You know that the prince is a traditionalist, and therefore my prince or my liege will do.
Okay. Does he prefer bowing or saluting?
Bowing, because you're not a soldier. Unless you are a soldier, but you're not in
He went to
uniform.
West Point. Yeah, his backstory is he went to West Point, served as an army captain in Desert Storm.
Then you can salute.
Okay. All right. Max will follow behind Harpy Budge. Am I pronouncing that right? Probably.
Yeah, it's Budge, but it doesn't
Budge.
matter.
Okay. Right. He'll follow behind Harpy Budge. 2 steps behind, 2 steps to the right. As Max kind of looks around, because being a history guy, he's kind of like, hey.
You see Harpy stops, in front of the prince. He's not that close, but he's not that far. In a respective, he stands and he bows. He doesn't salute. And you see that he is waiting for Prince to talk with him. Accept his presence.
Please feel welcome, Mr. Budge. I see you brought an honorary guest to my location of being at the moment. Tell me, who have you brought, Tobias?
My prince, this is Maximilian Hardcastle. He is a neonate from Clan Ventrue. I have speak with his sire and his grandsire. They have acknowledged his arrival.
Obviously. I hope it is a grand lineage indeed. I believe that's very important to Ventrue. Is that correct?
It is.
Bring him forward so I can look upon the man who entered my domain.
The Tobias gets back and looks at the Mr. Hardcastle and motions with his hand. He holds his hands towards the prince.
Max will step forward, present himself. He will pop tall, and he will pop a salute in the traditional American style. Maximilian Hardcastle reporting as ordered, sir. And then he will remain at attention.
The prince will give a smile and almost automatically, like it's a reflex, says, stand easy, soldier.
And he will.
Then he simply smiled and said, it's been a while since somebody triggered that kind of reaction for me. Almost more than 200 years. But thank you for the reminder. I was once a great soldier.
Yes,
So
sir.
what brings you to my city?
Well, sir, this is actually the city of my birth, my mortal birth, and also the city of my embrace, albeit 10 to 11 years past. Spent quite a number of years in Berlin, studying under the tutelage of, looking this up, hold on, Prince Wilhelm Waldberg, the Prince of Berlin, who I am descended from.
So you are used to stern measures. I believe the Prince of Berlin does not like people to keep him waiting.
Most definitely not, sir.
Well, that does mean actually a lot in my eyes. That means you're used to hard discipline and following orders. Something we could use since we are at this moment at war with Sabbat, as well with any other miscreant who is not of the blood.
Max kind of, his face kind of, his eyes narrow, and when you say the word Sabbat, he's like, distasteful creatures.
They're barbarians, and they should not yet exist, but they do.
It'll be my extreme pleasure in burning them out. However you see fit.
Well, I do expect you to do so, Mr. Hardcastle.
I also understand that you have some edicts in place about coterie that you're wanting formed.
They are not exactly orders, but they are, as I would say, advice from an old man. I need during this wartime people to keep connecting with each other, not one of us falling off the wagon and maybe being swayed to go to the other side, or even worse, be lost.
I
So
understand.
yes, I do want to form my coteries, my squads of people, my departments during wartime.
During my tutelage and education in Berlin, I did study under some of the information warfare, as it would be called in today's military, information warfare experts within the clan. My personal sire, uh, Mr. Schroeder, he was rather adept at enforcing masquerade and taught me some tips and techniques in so doing.
Then I will see that you will find your place among those within my city who are specialized either in keeping the masquerade, protecting the first tradition, and most of all, keeping it.
Thank you, sir.
However, it's all up to you. We are, during these times, somewhat free to choose where we like to be. You can choose. I have made small divisions, but if you want to go and form your own group, form your own connection with others, please inform my harpy so we will keep connected.
I will, sir. Did you have some advice on who I should seek out?
Oh, very well. I would love you to seek out Mr. Braddock, Mr. Brooks, and you already found Budge. They are resident representatives of Clan Ventrue.
Yes, Mr. Braddock and I have met.
Good. Have you met Mr. Brooks yet?
Yes, okay, I have. Oh, yes, the lawyer. Yes.
Ah, yes, a lawyer. The young American who's not as young as he looks. I am happy to see you within this city. Your training in Germany has always brought good stock.
Thank you, sir.
Feel welcome. After the coteries have chosen their domain and the first court members have chosen their areas, I look very much forward to seeing which representative the Ventrue will send to be the primogen on the soon-to-be-raised council, as you can call it that.
Yes, that the position of primogen, Ventrue primogen specifically, has been brought up, and we are still having discussions about that at this time.
Very well. Discussions ensued. I would advise, however, soon I expect to meet with the representatives. If those representatives turn out to be chosen representative and therefore the primogen of that particular group, that would warm my heart, which means we can continue in this war. Eventually, the primogen and the prince will have to rule this city.
Indeed.
My prince, may I speak?
Of course, Mr. Butch, feel free.
My mates and I, we are talking about the Primogen, we have thought that you would be so generous to give us a place in court. The Mr. Brooks and Mr. Braddock is individuals who doesn't want to they like their time, and I was the most social among them when it comes to the kindred. We have talked in the a meeting, and we said that a person being harpy would seem it's up to Prince to decide the harpy can or can't be Primogen.
I rather not see a harpy be primogen as well. It might mix up interests. I can do tell you that being a primogen, a good primogen, takes up more time than you firstly anticipated. Mixing this with other tasks, such as harpy being social all the time, does become a strain. However, it's up to the clan themselves to represent one among their own. I will not appoint a primogen. I know about board meetings. You will come to a decision. I'm not worried.
My prince is most generous. He bows and goes back.
He's got a cell phone.
The prince will look at Mr. Hardcastle and say, I will not have direct orders. So far, I'm grouping my soldiers. When I am done, orders will follow, and I expect them to go by command. First the representative primogen, then the rest.
Very good, sir. I have a question as to the status of the other beings that inhabit the city, not the Sabbat specifically. I was asking around earlier, and it seems that Queens is not friendly to the Camarilla, the borough of Queens.
The borough of Queens. Well, let me put it frankly. When I entered this city, still under the idea that I had to be seneschal to assist the prince who was failing to keep his city together, I was told that they are not particularly friendly nor unfriendly towards us. However, we do not at this moment hold the capacity within our numbers to keep another borough other than Manhattan.
I understand. If the prince would humor me, it's Queens was the borough of my birth, and it has been quite some time since I have seen my the brownstone I lived in, and was reminiscing about my mortal days. And that's why I wished to know the status of our kind in Queens.
I believe the status of our kind in Queens is non-existing. Even if there are none. I do not want to attract more attention to us than we already attract by just being in Manhattan. I do not prevent you from going to Queens, as I would prevent someone from going to the Bronx. But I do advise you to keep a very low profile. But I do understand that memories
Yes,
are
sir.
something you see.
Understand completely.
I do hope that you will forget to even think about visiting Central Park or the Bronx, including the Bronx Zoo. For we do not hold sway there. It is not ours, nor do I have the intention at this moment to make it ours.
May I ask who does control Central Park?
Oh yes, you may. At this moment, Central Park is in the claws of werewolves.
Then we will let them. We will let sleeping dogs lie in Central Park. I have no problem with that. Oh, who? If I may. Yes.
Because I expect you to want all the info. In the Bronx, there lie those who are called the Fallen. They are winged creatures, and some call them angels. Others call them demons. I am not sure what they are, but they seem to hold incredible power. And I have heard stories about their leader, and they are not at all that pleasant.
Max looks rather concerned about that. So the stories are true about demons.
I'm not sure what stories you heard to confirm if they are true. However, they do exist in some way. Same goes for fairy tale creatures, although I have decided I do not want to get involved with any of those because I don't see the point. I do know, however, that our wardens have connected with those who are called mages, and they are not particularly tremere.
Hmm.
Again, you are technically free to connect with all of these groups, but if you fall under their hammer without my protection, that it will just be without my protection. However, if they attack us in Manhattan, you will have the support of all the coteries. Our first priority is defending, protecting, and upholding the masquerade. The second part is, as always, defeating our arch enemy, the scourge we know as the Sabbat.
Understood, sir.
If you keep to the rules of engagement, you can never sway a miss.
I will keep that in mind, sir.
Good. Have your meeting. Have your contacts. Welcome to the city, Mr. Hardcastle.
Thank you, sir. And he will stand at attention one more time.
You are dismissed.
Thank you. He will do a proper about face and resume standing back behind Mr. Budge as they walked in.
The Mr. Budge, before he leaves, he will nod at the prince. You know, the evil bow slightly, and then he will leave with the Ventrue neonate as well.
Max will
And I
follow.
believe, yeah, go on, guys.
Max will follow.
As both gentlemen walk out, the prince will look again upon the art which has been put at display at this moment, and will remind himself that it's been a long, long while since he's been back to the Netherlands. And that's it. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. I say let's stop this recording.
That would be me.